Here's to whiskey kisses, the peaty taste of sin.
Greetings, whiskey folk. Welcome back to Drinking Out Loud. We are your many hosts today. I've never tried to squeeze quite so many people onto the table before. I think we're reaching the limits of the studio.
Yeah. Maybe we should have shot from the end of the table and just gone down it.
You don't want to see the other side of the room.
Oh, I know.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not nice. So, welcome to a very special dual unbottling of our two limited edition single-cask Westlands, which were unannounced and secretly released at the Victoria Whisky Festival. We got it just in time.
Oh, if we ever get
that
it
was an
just in
adventure.
time.
Thanks, Snow. Thanks, BCLDB. Thanks, everyone involved. And a special thanks, actually, to Brett, who went and picked them up from the warehouse in his car. Not that Brett.
Not me.
Different Brett.
Just as great. Just as great.
Yeah, actually, better.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Thank you, Brett Parker.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you, Jez McAlpine, for putting this whole thing together as well. The reason all four of us are here today is because this, for the first time, is not just a me picking something. And there's been a little bit of collaboration in the past. Brett's helped with a couple of the shelter points in the past and whatnot. And it's always a little bit of a collaboration. But this was a true big collaboration from the get-go of all four of us. And it was an adventure.
If you're unaware who the four of us are, this would be Andrew.
It would. Still is, actually.
I hope so.
Adam, Taryn, and Brett. And
I feel like I'm squeezing you out of the frame there. Sorry.
We all had pretty much equal say when it came to kind of selecting these two wonderful casks from Westland. And I couldn't be more proud of what we've done to just get these bottles here on the table in front of us is exciting, but I just think they're phenomenal whiskeys too. So
yeah, absolutely. So a little bit of background with Westland. Fantastic distillery that I was really excited to stock when they first launched over here in BC. Unfortunately, a few things happened back in the day, and they kind of aligned themselves somewhat with the government stores and away from private stores. We didn't have the opportunity to really showcase what Westland could really do. And thankfully, they've decided that that wasn't the best of ideas. And we now not only have fantastic limited edition releases from Westland, we actually have them at a really bloody good price as well, which is fantastic. I feel like I should have written down the price of these whiskies before we started the film. That's now Brett's job to
I can
on
do
his
that.
phone
Yeah, I can
and
absolutely
find out what the price is for these whilst I tell you about them. So yeah, Westland, incredible single malt distillery from Seattle, and they do things distinctly American. It may be a style of whiskey that has its origins in Scotland, and some might say Ireland as well. But they've taken a bit of an American approach to it. So two things that American style whiskey is very well known for. First of all, using fresh virgin oak casks, which is something that Westland has started to do with some of their releases. And another thing that is distinctly American is the idea of a mash bill. And in fact, if you're not aware, that's one of the distinct differences between traditional American whiskies and traditional Canadian whiskies. In Canada, traditionally, we would make individual grain, single grain whiskies. So we'd have 100% rye, 100% wheat, 100% barley, and then we'd blend them together in post, basically. We'd fix it in post, much like I'm going to do with this video.
it's perfect already.
Yeah. So yeah, they would age them separately as well, and then blend them just before bottling. Whereas in America, you would make what's called a mash bill, where you would essentially make the mash, or the beer, in a sense, with lots of different grains. So some mashes would have like 51% corn and then 25% barley, a little bit of rye, and the remainder wheat, and that would be a bourbon recipe. And there's various different mash bills at different ratios. Everyone has kind of their own unique 11 herbs and spices blend. Mash bills are often tightly guarded secrets, and sometimes when a distillery is very confident that they know no one else will be able to recreate what they're doing because of other reasons, they will actually tell you the exact breakdown of the mash bill. And that's something that, despite being a single malt, Westland is actually bringing to the table, because much like quite a few distilleries are these days, they're looking outside of the normal distillers' sort of choice malted barleys. They're looking at barley that was usually used for brewing. There's a lot of beer sort of influence in what Westland's doing, and yeah, they have like a five grain mix of different malting levels, all the way I think from pale to chocolate and everywhere in between, bit of a rainbow. And yeah, we actually have two casks that each showcase one of those two aspects of what makes Westland so interesting and unique. And we're incredibly proud of them. And we actually got to go to Westland, the four of us, because Victoria is not that far away from Seattle, although when you're driving there and taking the BC ferry, it felt quite far away.
Yeah.
Oh, man, waiting for those ferries.
A lot of travel.
It was great. We actually got to take a trip. So here's a photo of us actually at the distillery, waiting outside because we were there a little early, I think. It's like, as you can see, there's this is the still. We got to go to their secret location warehouse. We got driven there. We got blindfolded. No, we didn't, but perhaps we should have done.
Now we know.
Yes,
Westland.
exactly.
Now we know.
Here's a bunch of casks, some of which that we sampled. Here's us sitting down at the table in the cask room. A fantastic picture of Andrew. Love this shot.
Oh, yeah.
And goats, lots of goats.
Oh, the goats.
That was probably the highlight of the trip.
It really was. Yeah. Screw the whiskey. The goats. Goats is the star.
I mean, the whiskey's really good too.
The goats. So, at the end of the day, we were under no obligation to actually come home with a cask. Well, not literally come home with a cask. The customs and revenue people might have something to say if we tried to bring it across the border.
Yeah.
They already had problems enough, the fact that I don't have a Canadian citizenship yet. Sorry for making you guys wait in the line there.
It happens.
Yeah, it does. But we ended up not just picking one, but picking two, because we couldn't really decide. Two of us championed one of them, another two championed the other, and the other cask was, in both ways, the other pair's second favourite. So both of these were everyone's first and second favourite, I think, at the end of the day, which is kind of cool. And here is, you might have noticed that the bottles are a little low. The ones on the shelf, don't worry, are full. And I know this is the unbottling, but we kind of unbottled them a little early for the video because we were very excited. In fact, the day that these came in, we managed to take some time aside at the festival. That's how cutting it close it was for the festival release. Here's a couple of videos of between the two videos, all four of us enjoying the first ever bottles of these whiskey to be opened. So check it out.
Greetings, whiskey folk, and welcome to the unofficial unbottling of the Westland 6265 cask, which Taryn is about to open the very first ever bottle of this whiskey to be opened.
Oh my god. Good plastic.
Nice. Good pop.
You pour it.
No, this is on you. You popped it. You pour it.
I can't pour it. I'm the cameraman. I'm going to zoom in on the pour. Here we go. Lovely.
Outstanding. Oh my god.
Yeah, that color is magnificent, isn't it?
Oh my god.
You better try. No, don't need more.
What?
Put it in that glass if you like. Good. Here you go. One more.
Beautiful.
Oh my god, it smells exactly the same as I remember.
All right, you two. This might go on record as the first ever drinking out loud segment without me on camera. What are your first impressions? What's on the nose?
Oh.
Just goodness.
Goodness, nice.
Okay, rich. You get a little bit of like a muted, red licorice, but like the vines, the red candied vines.
Nice. Just to add some context to what's going on here, this is night 2 of the Victoria Whisky Festival.
Oh, yeah.
We've, I think, between us, just worked an entire week's worth of hours in one day. And we well deserve this whiskey. So I'm going to close off the camera now and enjoy it myself.
Hey.
Hopefully you guys get to enjoy it soon. Oh, look at that. There's one right here. Oh, I'm on camera. Slanger.
Greetings, whiskey folk, and welcome to the Dram Association official unbottling of the Westland Cask 1337 single cask made for the Strath.
Pretty stoked.
Opening the bottle today for the very first time is our very own Andrew, who, along with Adam and Taryn and myself, Brett, helped select these casks. So, if you wouldn't mind, prepare for the pop.
Ah. Oh, yeah. Oh, fantastic. Karen? You're welcome.
What makes this one different than the other one, Brett?
This is a peated ex-bourbon, of course, cask strength, made by Westland. And honestly, this was actually, when we made the choice of these two casks, this is the one that Andrew and I were fighting for, where the Amarone cask was more of an Adam and Taryn thing, which is also lovely and phenomenal. This is just one that, we had in our hearts. So with that said, take the first sip there, Andrew. What do you think?
Oh, just as good as I remember it. We chose really well. And the people of Westland have really made a nice whiskey here.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, with that, we're going to sign off from the Strath Suite at day 3 of the Victoria Whisky Festival. Prost.
All right, so that was just a little preview. Let's have a proper tasting, a proper unbottling. And we'll start off with what we've lovingly referred to on the back as From Seattle via Italy. This is our ex-Amarone cask, featuring the 11 herbs and spices, the 5 malted barley blend at different roast levels.
Mm-hmm.
Yee, cool. Distilled from 100% malted barley by Westland Distillery, Seattle. We were there.
We were there.
So this is cask 6265. I don't know why that's such a pleasing number, but it is.
Yep. It's a very
6265.
pleasing number. It's weird. Yeah.
It's also 56 proof, so it's all 6s and 2s and 5s and 112. 56 proof. 112 proof.
Yeah.
56 ABV. That would be a very low ABV whiskey, wouldn't it?
Cask strength.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Cask strength. It is 9 years aged. And yeah, it's the 5 malt barley. 9. So I have to admit, when I first had the invite to come and sample a bunch of Westlands, the original plan was just to fly myself over there for a few hours and fly back. And I was like, nah, let's bring out these munchkins along.
Yeah.
And
you needed my sign off anyways.
I kind of assumed that we'd be offered like some 3-year-old casks or 4-year-old casks, and they'd be kind of pricey. And I didn't really know what we were in for, but I was incredibly pleasantly surprised when I saw what was on offer. And this is a 9 years aged, and yeah, it's from an Amarone cask from Italy, which I don't know much about wine. Taryn might pull me up on this, but from what I think one of the things that makes Amarone a particularly special type of Italian wine is they use either partially dried or fully dried grapes, almost like raisins. In the look at me go! I've got wine knowledge now.
Moving on up in the world.
I know. So yeah, let's crack this one open, guys. Let's get some glasses going. So, at time of release of this video, we are in the pre-order section of these whiskies. So you can go to strathliquor.com and pre-order these whiskies. They will be launched quite soon. Regular price is $139.04, and Brett has kindly agreed to let us continue the trend of a 15% pre-order discount.
Absolutely.
So you can pick it up for $118.18. That's really good for a 9-year-old single malt cask strength single cask, especially one of this quality. And we plan to release it, so long as the rest actually arrives, on February 12th. So February 12th, you'll be able to come and pick it up, or if you're getting delivery, it'll be sent out to try and aim to be at your abode by the 12th. And yeah, if you are watching this video after February 12th, there's a good chance that you'll be able to come and try this exact bottle, actually, in store, because this will be our drop-in dram for the month of February. We actually have a bit of a decision to make today as well. We're going to put it up to a bit of a vote, which is going to be tricky with 4 people, because you'll probably go to a tie.
Remember what happened last time we went to a
I know,
vote?
right? We ended up doing both. Because, of course, with our drop-in drams, one of them's free and one of them's paid. Which one's going to be free?
It's a good point.
Tricky, right?
Flip a coin?
All right. So, Slancher, this is from Seattle via Italy, distilled in 2014. It's so good, isn't it?
So good.
This is the one that Taryn and I picked as our favorite.
Why are you ruining it?
But I believe it was both of your second favorites.
100%. Yeah, this is actually the one that I was extremely excited to settle upon. And I only say that because I really do love the upcoming dram. But this Amarone finish is ecstatic. And it's something that we don't have in our kind of single cask lineup. And it was really, really exciting. And like the whiskey itself is just so great.
Yeah, I mean, as you might know if you're familiar with our store or these videos, last year was our 20th anniversary. We released 5 different single cask whiskies exclusive to us. Technically, actually 6 because we sold one 6-pack of Fathom as well.
Oh yes, that's true.
Yes. And we thought that was going to be kind of a big splash and that's it and like yay, and then all of a sudden in January we have 2 more single casks to add to our program, which is kind of wild and not at all expected, to be honest. So it's kind of cool that we're continuing this quite so quickly. We do have more planned very soon actually, and yeah,
they're 2 quite welcomed additions, really unique welcomed additions to our already unique single cask line.
Yeah, they both have something that nothing else from our single cask has. This one is definitely it's the only red wine cask.
Yep.
And it's also the only single malt that we've had that has a special sort of specialty finish or specialty cask type that isn't peated as well. So if you're smoke averse, this is the perfect whiskey for you. Because out of the single malts that we released, only the Loch Lomond was unpeated.
That's true. Oh, I love the nose on this whiskey. It's like a honey red licorice.
I'm definitely getting a lot of that that dried raisin flavor from the Amarone. It's both present on the tongue, but also on the nose as well for myself. It's really nice.
I'm getting a lot of like black tea and cloves. Lots of really dark flavors. Licorice is a good.
Yeah, licorice is really good. And also too, it's got that tingle of the spices, you know, like a little bit of the baking, cooking spices on there, which tingle the tongue.
Totally. Dark chocolate.
Yeah.
Coffee. Yeah, it's a deep, dark, brooding whiskey.
That's how I like my whiskeys.
Nice.
Give me your deepest, darkest, broodiest whiskey, please.
Yeah. If you were trying to write a really angsty novel, this would be a great pairing for it. This would be the whiskey that Alanis Morissette was drinking when she wrote Jagged Little Pill.
Excellent. And I know it's been said already, but it really, really was a hard pick. I mean, and it's one of the reasons why we ended up with 2.
I mean, they said maybe you could get 2. Which is one of the reasons why we ended up with 2.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
yeah,
I can't remember if we suggested it first or they did, but
I
either
feel
way,
like,
it was a happy agreement.
I feel like after we tasted all the what was to offer, and we were talking about which one to choose, it was split very strongly between these 2. Yeah. And I think we jokingly said, "Well, let's get both," and then maybe that.
We kind of shot ourselves in the foot, though, because we should have just taken one and then later decided we should get a second. We should come back down and pick another cask.
Yes, we could have got a second trip out of it. You guys are the bosses. You should have thought of this.
Yeah, maybe we can't bring all 4 of us down.
The quicker we sell these bottles, the quicker we can get back down there to pick number 3 and maybe 4.
Yep.
Hear that, Westland? We're coming back. Buy it all.
I don't know if we're really supposed to be saying this, but there is theoretically a third maybe in the works because someone was very excitedly mentioning from the distillery that they already had an idea for a special bottling for us in the future with a special local twist, which is kind of cool.
It's we'll see where it comes.
What an age we live in.
I know, right?
Good whiskeys everywhere.
So if you are interested in unique, beautiful individual single cask single malts, this is a fantastic choice. It's like nothing else I've ever had. And if you are also interested in interesting cask types, we should also mention that out of this deal, we managed to snag a few cases of Gariana. So that's Edition 6. And that's the whiskey that Westland is most commonly known for. I believe they were the first ever distillery to mature whiskey in Gary oak casks, which is a protected species. It's super hard to use. It's super hard to get. You have to have like naturally fallen trees. Very limited. And Gariana, I think it was the Edition 8 it's just won one of the best whiskies in the world at one of the competitions last year. So that like sold out instantly is really hard to get. And now as a result of that, all of the Garianas are really hard to get. And they always have been. This is the first time that we've had access to Gariana. It's always been a government exclusive at the spirit release. It's usually one of those things that you have to line up for overnight and have a ticket in line to be able to get one. And now we have it, and we're very excited to be able to present that one as well. But yeah, our own single cask. What was it? $118?
$118.18.
That is ridiculous.
This is
But only until February 12th.
Yeah. That is, I mean, honestly, even at full price, if you've missed the pre-order window, the full price of this whiskey is still ridiculous.
yes, that's still a great price for this.
In general,
139.
139. That's great. In general, like there used to be this old rule of thumb for regular bottlings of $10 a year, and inflation. This was a decade ago now. That's not really true. But these days, the general rule of thumb for like finding a really good value single cask strength pick is usually about $20 to $25 a year these days. So if you find a 10-year-old single cask strength that all in is less than $200, you found a decent price here. This is for BC Canada, I should mention. If you're in America and you think the prices sound ridiculous, you would be right. This is strictly for our local market. So yeah, having this at like less than $15 a year is phenomenal. All right, shall we do second one?
Yes,
I guess.
let's get to it.
Let's move to our favorite. Andrew.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one.
So, Brett, you get to introduce this one. Tell us all about it.
This is the Westland single cask number 1337.
Which, shout out to James Bourne. I didn't know this, and I feel like I should have done. Apparently, in old school gamer slang speak, that it has a special meaning.
Yeah, it's elite.
Yeah,
You didn't. That's
I didn't know that.
That's not why I picked
I'm a
it.
console gamer.
So this once again features that 5-grain bill, which is fantastic.
No.
This isn't it.
No.
Oh no, sorry.
No.
It does not.
No.
Because this is strictly their peated malt,
Which is sourced from Scotland. Baird's Maltings, I believe it was.
It is awesome. When I first was going through the lineup of casks that they had provided us to sample, I immediately hit on this one because it was the perfect, in my humble opinion, nose for a peated whiskey, and it does not disappoint. And that's kind of the original thing where before I even tried anything else at the table, this one just had its thorn in me. But yeah, it is a 8-year-old peated, beautiful Westland bottling. 54% ABV. That's 108 proof, Adam.
Thank you.
Yeah. And yeah, 8-year-old New American Oak.
And that, like, New American Oak is not something you generally find in like single malt whiskies, especially in Scotland. This is a super unique whiskey on its own accord, and it's really interesting that from what I understand, it's actually the same place of malted barley, if it is Baird's, if I remember correctly, as several of last year's single casks.
Oh, cool.
I think Baird's also supplies peated malt to Amroot, I'm fairly sure.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly sure they provide the peated malt for Ardmore and maybe even Benroma, which is kind of funny.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, fantastic Highland-style peated whiskey. So if you're expecting something like Lafroig, you're not going to get that. You're going to get something much more familiar to like Talisker, or like something a little bit more like campfire bacon smoke, less iodine, nothing medicinal about it. But that really strong flavor you get from a virgin oak cask, brand new, never been used before oak for 8 years, plays up and is just kind of like matches the intensity of that peat really, really well.
Yeah.
This is an astonishing whiskey.
Yeah, it's got a very good balance. So this is from Seattle via Scotland, how we've nicely labeled this one on the back. Although I think some fresh glasses would be
Absolutely.
Let me just move that off to the side. Thank you.
I should also mention these are both from 2014, and they're almost exactly the same age. It's just that one of them was slightly over the age border when it got time for bottling, so one's 9 and one's 8, but they're almost exactly the same age. And they're also exactly the same price as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same price, same pre-order discount.
Yep. 118.18.
Yeah.
I can't believe that price, actually.
Yeah,
I feel like we might have done something wrong there, but it's on video now, so...
they don't need to know that.
It's okay.
Or actually, they do need to know that. Take advantage of this mistake. No,
Westland doesn't need to know.
no.
So there we are. Cask number 1337.
Slancha.
Slancha.
Roast.
Yeah, beautiful bacon,
Just
like bacon campfire nose.
Yeah.
Taryn, for somebody that doesn't like or didn't like peat, what drew you to this cask?
You guys liking it?
Okay.
Well,
I was really pushing for this one. This
Yeah.
is my favorite out of all of them.
Yeah, I know.
And they really wanted the peated one, and I was like, "But guys,
Well, I mean, if we were only going to get one, like I was going to throw my weight behind this one.
Yes.
You know, sorry.
Yes.
I know you're technically my boss, but I'm in charge
Well,
of
no,
whiskey.
No.
it was a. I mean, it's not an easy pick, especially when you have so many excellent choices. But I mean, I remember our discussion, and you made a very good point. I mean, a lot of our single casks have leaned towards a peaty flavor note,
Absolutely.
and we really, as much as we love peat, or some of us do, we also want to make our line unique, a bit, a variety. And so that was your argument behind it when we were trying to choose between both of them. And I fully agreed with you. And I would have been fully happy with going with the Amarone cask. But this peated whiskey was just so uniquely delicious on its own.
Mhm.
I had a really... I had a really hard time fully letting go of it, and I'm really happy that we were able to get both because, yeah. it's-
Virgin oak and smoke is
Yeah.
oak and smoke.
Yeah.
Is a really fun combination, and it brings to light some really interesting flavors that aren't particularly common. One of the things I'm getting on the nose right now is bread and butter pickles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Just super interesting.
My favorite note that I can't seem to get away from on the palate, it's like a mintiness that almost just like pulls over the back of your palate and just sticks. And then all these other flavors just start to get highlighted throughout.
Yeah, it's a weirdly fresh peated whiskey, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If they were going to make like a peated whiskey flavored toothpaste, they should use this as the blueprint.
they really should."
Ooh.
It's refreshing.
One thing I'm noticing, and I noticed this before when we were first trying these, both of these whiskeys, I don't know if this is going to sound corny or over the top, but both of these whiskeys really, the taste of them and the feel of them really invokes this feeling of like West Coast, I'm having a hard time explaining it. Like,
I think I know what you mean, because it's kind of that sense, like coming from Britain to the West Coast, everything is bigger here.
Mhm.
Everything's more the trees are freaking 30 times the size. The waves crashing against the shore make you like scared for like your life.
Mhm.
Like everything is just massive over here compared to the old world.
yeah,
Like if someone from Italy or someone from Scotland were to come over to the Seattle, Vancouver Island, West Coast area, they would just be in awe of everything they saw. The size of the mountains, the trees, the everything is just more rugged, more raw, more in your face. And both of these whiskeys have that kind of full aspect to them.
Mhm. And when we were down there and they were talking about their process and their distillery and everything, you can tell they are very passionate about where Westland is.
Mhm.
And they talked about the valley, the soil, the air. Gary Oaks here on Vancouver Island, we have Gary Oaks. It's a very West Coast thing. We
Absolutely.
we know and we feel all this,
Mhm.
and it made me realize or just see again that we have. I felt like I had just more in common with passion with these people in Seattle than I would with anybody, making whiskey in Ontario or something.
Yeah, fair.
And it's really coming through in my experience drinking these whiskeys.
And it's fun because this still, although it's from America, feels like a local whiskey.
That's what. Yeah,
Which is
that's exactly
nice,
what I'm
right?
trying to say,
It's-
but in a more flowery way.
they're neighbors.
This is through and through a Cascadian whiskey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And to that point, when we were driving around from the distillery to the warehouse, which is actually quite a long drive,
Yeah.
we were being pointed out, like, that farm over there supplies some of the barley for us.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
over
really
there,
cool.
they do some of the maintenance for us, and there's a true like local collaboration thing going on.
That was actually one of my personal highlights of the trip, is when we drove through the farmland there.
Mhm.
I feel silly. Does anybody remember the name of that valley or that?
Skagit.
Skagit Valley.
Skagit Valley.
Skagit Valley. It's a very well-known farming valley. I just terrible with names, but yes, Skagit Valley. That was one of my highlights. Is like you said, driving by and seeing the exact fields where that all that grain and barley is going right to the whiskey we're drinking.
Speaking of terrible with names, I feel really bad right now because I can't remember the name of the brand ambassador that was driving us. He's he just moved over from New York.
Yeah.
I can tell you many things about him, but apart from his name, because I'm terrible with names. I apologize if you're watching this video. I will look you up and put you in the notes, hopefully. But a gentleman, a scholar, and a fine tour guide.
Yeah,
as was everyone at Seattle, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
It was a wonderful experience, and one that has stoked hopefully a long and prosperous collaboration between the Strath and Westland. We're very excited to be working with them again. And one of the funny things is when I was programming these whiskies, these single cask strength 8 and 9-year-old whiskies are, even at full price, I believe $15 to $20 cheaper than the old sherry cask and peated cask whiskies that we used to carry about 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is wild. And that's like 7 years ago's pricing as well. So I'm not just trying to pull the wool over your eyes when I'm saying we're getting really good prices on these. We truly are. These are incredible whiskies and perfectly well priced for the market here. And we're very, very grateful for them working on that with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thrilled to have a partner like Westland to just kind of get us something that is this exceptional that we can try and we can share and we can enjoy, because that's the most important thing about whiskey is, being able to share it, right? That's what makes it whiskey.
Absolutely.
And
It's only whiskey when it's shared.
I'm really excited for this whiskey to make it out to all of you, because then you can share in this experience with us and through a nice dram.
Yeah, and honestly, like, that is probably the highlight of my job here, is seeing people all over the world actually now picking up single casks that we've picked through the store and letting us know what they think of them and their experience. And there's that weird sense of like camaraderie across the planet of sharing literally exactly the same beverage with someone, 10 miles away, 100 miles away, 1,000 miles away, it doesn't matter. We still have that incredible connection, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
It really is. Yeah. Yeah.
My favorite thing about these whiskeys specifically is this label on the back of every single one of them, where it says, specially selected by the team at the Strath.
That's us.
That's us.
And
We did that.
I couldn't have a better team. So, to you.
To all of
Cheers,
us.
guys.
Cheers.
And to the rest of the team that looked after the store while we could get the van off to Seattle.
while we were having fun, absolutely. All right. Well, please, if you're interested in these bottles, go check out the website. Pre-order them at the price if you can. Well worth it.
Yeah.
And
you can select pick up in store, and like I said, you can pick them up on, I think it's the 12th, wasn't it?
Yep.
Or where you can deliver with Canada Post, wherever Canada Post will happily deliver it to.
Yes, of course.
And local delivery as well if you are elsewhere in Victoria, downtown, or slightly further out. Yeah, we have a wonderful delivery driver.
Also the boss.
Yeah, it's amazing, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
works.
he's the only one we can trust.
Yeah. That's fair.
And an extra special thank you to everyone at the Victoria Whisky Festival, volunteers, organisers, patrons, visiting dignitaries, us, for an incredible festival. It was an amazing launch. For those of you who have already tried these whiskies, and some people have already bought them, we did get an advance shipment in time for the festival. So I believe 24 people managed to go home with a bottle of this already, even though it's technically still on pre-order. They will hopefully chime in and like tell you what they think about these whiskies as well, because the feedback we've had so far has been phenomenal. They were also featured at 2 masterclasses at the festival. And I don't know what happened at the other masterclass, but we got a round of applause at mine, which was kind of fun.
That's
Good.
great.
Awesome.
Yes, yeah. I truly agree. So we'll see you on the next video. Like I said, we've got some really exciting new releases, and I'll tell you, this is the next release that we're single cask will be the most local release we've ever had.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
See you on the next one.
Maybe less people on the next one. It's a crowded table. I love all of you, but it's a crowded table.
Good point.
Yeah.
So you won't be in the next one.
Yeah, all right.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Leap.
God, those are good whiskeys.